This Jocks 94.5 podcast is brought to you by Millennium Satellite and Video. Log on to msbnow.com. TV excellence everywhere. That's Millennium. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning starts now.
Welcome back to McElroy Cubelic in the morning, 9 o'clock here, Birmingham, Alabama. Just 8 days away from college football getting underway. You heard the voice of God a moment ago. Kind of crazy to think that it's so dang close. It's going to be a lot of fun. Going to have a game in Dublin, Ireland next weekend. Iowa State and Kansas State, one that should have some implications on the college football playoff. Both those teams among the favorites in the Big 12. So winner with a game and a half lead in the Big 12 going into the season. Pretty good place to start. Of course, the rest of college football will get underway in 13 days. That'll be Thursday, August 28th. You have Auburn teeing it up Friday against Baylor. That's 2 weeks from today. And then Bama getting underway against Florida State, 2:30 on the 30th. Crocker Movers is a local company owned by an Iraq War veteran, Eric Crocker. Crocker believes in hiring movers you can trust to complete full background checks and run drug tests on every single employee. These are good guys, and you can trust them in your home. Whether your whole home packed up and moved, your company headquarters moved across the country, or you just want them to come rearrange your living room, these guys got you covered. They also do deliveries for furniture that you purchased and need to get to your home. So call or visit them online today for a free quote. The website is CrockerMovingServices.com. That's CrockerMovingServices.com. Support your veterans by choosing Crocker Moving Services for your next move.
I wanted to go into transfer quarterback. Sorry for me being late there. I was distraction. Today's not the day.
Oh, boy. He's in the hole.
Yeah. Buried.
Don't go in the hole.
Wait till about 3 o'clock today. And it's going to be all-time low for me.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. Portal quarterbacks that have the best year. Is this just too easy to say John Mateer? I didn't intend for that to rhyme, by the way. It's not how it was supposed to come out, but it did. Jackson Arnold, Bo Prabula, Nico Iamaleava, Darian Mensah, Joey Aguilar, who apparently is trending towards being the starter at Tennessee. I'm not sure if you're aware of that. That's been reported.
Not a huge surprise.
Carson Beck, allegedly shredding in Miami the last couple of days.
Supposedly
looking
ripping.
good.
Supposedly doing really, really well. Pretty good spot.
Feels like a better fit for him.
It's going to be a good fit. He's going to have a good year. Big things is wide receivers. His wide receivers are young, and if they don't live up to expectations, it's going to be hard. But the offensive line's good, and I don't think he's going to have a ridiculous amount of pressure on him like he had last year. If you look at last year when he was under duress, not great. When he wasn't under duress, pretty dang solid. So I'm still pretty optimistic about Carson Beck this year, even though most people want to blame him exclusively for Georgia's inconsistencies last year. I don't think that's fair at all.
Okay. So is there one that you just feel like definitively is going to have a better year than any of the others?
I think John Mateer has the best opportunity, but it is dependent on guys being healthy at wide receiver.
And on the offensive line.
Absolutely.
I mean, if they're as dinged up on the offensive line or even near as dinged up as they were last year, he's not going to be able to put those kind of numbers together.
No. Which is kind of crazy when you think about it, because this has been this has kind of been an offensive line at Oklahoma for the last decades, usually one of the better groups in college football. In the last 2 years, what the heck's happened?
And it's mainly been injuries. I don't think it's been a lack of talent. They've had to go young a few times. They've had to move guys around positions, and some guys, playing at different points in time and not practicing, not playing. That's all been kind of tough. But if the offensive line's not good, it doesn't matter. And I wanted to bring this up because I think the easy go-to answer is John Mateer for a lot of different reasons. You mentioned some of them. But if you're talking about situationally, are there a couple of guys out there that maybe don't have the name, haven't had as much success, that technically, Greg, are in a better situation to go have success? I'm going to throw two names at you and you tell me what you think. Because you will look at it, I think, in a little bit more holistic way, like I'm asking folks to, than what they just do on the surface. Fernando Mendoza. I think he's in a great spot.
He's in a great spot. He's going to have a great year. And as much as
you guys don't know, Cal quarterback transferring to Indiana. Super accurate, knows how to get the ball out on time, RPO-based offense now that relies on some quick game stuff that I think he'll be deadly in. and I think has enough juice at receiver. The offensive line should be solid. You go get a great portal kid from Notre Dame that can fill in for one of your vacancies. That might be an upgrade. He's in a great spot to have a great year that just not a lot of people are talking about.
Correct. And I think his mobility is going to make that offense even more challenging. He's got great weapons at wide receiver. I like the addition of Roman Hemby from Maryland at running back. They're going to be good on offense. I think they're going to be really good on offense. Now it's just about whether or not they are as good on defense, frankly, to make another playoff run. Because the defensive tackles last year that they had were off the charts good. Like C.J. West was a handful. And the other guy, 99, was really good as well. I'm blanking on his name. But I don't think they're going to be as good up the middle on defense this year, which is going to make things a little bit more interesting while watching them. But I think their offense will score. So
we talked a little bit about Zach Calzada earlier. He's a guy that is also going to transfer and most likely be the starter. Here are a few other names, specifically this next one, that I think are in a great spot to have a big year and probably not getting enough run. I think if I gave you a couple of guesses, you would hit it. But in this conversation where most people are just going to go Mensah, Beck, Aguilar, Mateer, Iamaleava, Arnold, Prabula, should we be talking about Miller Moss here?
Miller Moss has a chance to have a great year, especially if they're healthy at wide receiver. I mean, we all know what Colin Lacey did a couple years ago at South Alabama.
Big time.
Was banged up last year. Was a really, really highly regarded prospect leaving South. Now, last year it didn't really materialize. But I think Miller Moss in that offense has a chance to be really good. The problem with Louisville is the schedule. Their schedule's a beast. And I like what they have on paper, but there are real concerns for me about them being able to navigate through that schedule unscathed. I don't see it happening.
Okay. That's another one that I feel like.
Have you looked at their schedule?
Yeah.
It's a monster.
But I think they got a chance to be really good.
No question.
I mean, if you're a good football team with great quarterback play, we know that wins a lot of games. What about Stephen Jelly?
If he wins the job, then I think he could have a solid year. The problem is there's just too many losses on that Syracuse team. I think they're going to miss I think they're going to miss a bowl game.
Both sides of the ball.
I mean, there's just too many losses, too many pieces gone. So it's hard for me to envision them replicating the success of last season.
The one that maybe should be as easy as any that we've mentioned, and because I think there's some intriguing ones we could throw out, like a Chandler Morris at Virginia. Chandler Morris has put up big numbers.
Yeah, he has.
In multiple spots, but we know the cast at Virginia, is it even going to be decent? I mean, we just don't know what that's going to look like. But what about Devin Dampier at Utah? Could he be the one that has the best year? Because also this is going to be contextual. Statistics, wins, championships, elevating a team. Like some people might look at a team that was bad, and if new quarterback comes in and they go from 3 wins to 8 wins, that he had the best year of all the transfer quarterbacks. Like that could maybe be like a Zach Calzada argument at the end of the year. If they go from where they were last year to 8 wins, people could say, man, he did the best job of any of these guys. But Dampier might be able to have that happen in both aspects, both statistically and for just how he changed the program.
Yeah, it's hard for me to say right now Dampier's going to be the guy. He's got some unknowns at wide receiver. Offensive line's amazing. I think they'll run the ball really well. If you look at New Mexico last year, the way they ran the ball was amazing. The problem with Dampier is he's just not a super lethal thrower. Or at least he wasn't last season. Doesn't mean that can't come on. It doesn't mean his arm can't get a little stronger or maybe a little bit better with the accuracy stuff. But I think Dampier, he will be a real problem trying to get him to the ground. But will he be able to be effective enough throwing it to enter that conversation?
Yeah, it's one that there are still some uncertainties, but with what he's capable of doing and how he's capable of moving the football both with his legs and through the air, with that offensive line, it feels like he has a chance to have a big season. So all of that being said, is there one that you look at and say, all right, I think he's going to have the best year of anybody out there? Transfer quarterback, that is.
I could see him having a really, really good year. But what is the expectation level there at quarterback?
That's what I'm saying. That's why it's contextual, because if
contextual.
Carson Beck throws for 4,200 yards, but they win 8 games, no one's going to say he had the best year.
No one's going to care.
I think John Mateer almost has to do it both ways. Like, I think they need to win like 9 at least, and he needs to throw for 3,200 and run for 550.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just I think it's kind of the same thing with Jackson Arnold. Like, if Jackson Arnold throws for 3,800 yards and Auburn wins 7 games, people are not going to say that was the best transfer quarterback yet.
No. The best opportunity for a guy to make the playoffs.
I'm just talking about them have the best year. Like, we look at that transfer quarterback had the best year. You contextually, however you want to place it. Doesn't necessarily have to be playoff.
Well, playoffs, I think, is how most people are going to probably assume success from this point forward. You know what I mean? So I think Indiana can make the playoffs for sure behind Fernando Mendoza. I think Carson Beck can absolutely make the playoffs out of the ACC. I look at some other playoff contenders that are going to be relying on transfer quarterbacks. I think Utah can make the playoffs out of the Big 12. I think that can absolutely happen.
Oklahoma can.
Can. Unlikely, but can. Like them. Think they could have a bounce back year in a big way, but I'm probably not putting them in the playoff just yet.
Can Duke?
No.
Sure. Just asking the question.
I get it. I'm fine with that. Relax. You know who can, though, is North Carolina because of their schedule.
You know, Duke won 9 games last year.
Correct.
Okay, I'm just throwing it out there.
Aware.
People forget or just flat never knew.
Not important to know.
Got it.
I think
they were 0-3 against ranked teams. So
if you want to give me the short list this year, and I'd limit it to 2 and then a gap, it's going to be Carson Beck and John Mateer.
Okay.
Those are the 2 for me. What about you?
Prbula wild card. I just don't know what we're going to get.
You might not even start.
Expect. Yeah. Well, here's my Sam Horn's had his chances. I just can't. I have a hard time seeing him
fair
being the guy.
I'm good with that. But the reality is he hasn't won the job yet. So totally it's hard for me to put him in that category.
Totally fair. I think John Mateer is in the best spot here because
better than Carson Beck.
Yes.
Why?
Deion Burks and defense.
League.
Okay. You go through that league, though. Obviously, you're not going to play everybody in your league. But Miami does open up with Notre Dame, right? South Florida's going to throw a lot at you. What do we love most about the Florida defense?
Defensive line.
Okay. So you got to go up against that group. You play Florida State on the road. You still play Louisville. You're at SMU.
But what do you feel best about with Miami?
Maybe the offensive line and the running backs?
Offensive line.
Yeah.
I think.
So
they are deep at running back, for sure.
Yeah. So, yeah, that takes a little bit off of him. But I think the Miami schedule is a little trickier than – I don't think this is a cakewalk schedule for – now, I do think it eases up late. But, I mean, let's be honest. A couple of these teams that they play late that we're sort of dismissing right now, I could see being totally different teams. And a lot of it has to do with coaching. Syracuse, NC State, Virginia Tech, Pitt. By the way, the last 2 on the road. I'm just going to tell you this on surface level. Like, I don't care who the team is, who the coach is, where they're playing. Miami at Virginia Tech and at Pitt, if that's later in the season, don't love it. Just don't love it. It's traditionally never been great.
Yeah.
So that's just me, though. So I think the schedule is a little bit harder than people imagine. And I still think, too, now there's a part of this offense that we haven't seen him operate in. And is it going to flow? Sounds like it is right now.
Yeah.
And it might once he gets in games because we know he can throw the deep ball. He's got the arm to push the ball down the field.
No doubt about that.
But he's got to organize it and run it and manage it. And sometimes I feel like that hasn't been his strength.
Fair.
And I would say the main thing for me, you may feel different here, about Carson Beck, he's got to figure out, he's the opposite of Jackson Arnold. He's got to know when a play is dead. Because he does not have the skill set to keep plays alive and to the ability in which I think he believes that he does.
All fair.
Throw the ball away. It's
all
fine.
Fair. All totally 100% fair. I still think, though, that offensive line is going to be elite. That's my own assessment. I think it's got a chance to be elite. And if that offensive line is elite and his receivers develop and his receivers grow into themselves, they have a really, really good chance of having a heck of a year. I'm a big believer in Miami this year.
Okay. I don't have a problem with it.
If you have a problem with it, just tell me.
Don't have a problem with it.
It's fine.
I do think that there will be some complications that some folks are not looking at. I think South Florida is going to be complicated. I think Notre Dame is going to be a handful. At Florida State may give them some issues. That's one that I didn't throw out there in this conversation is Thomas Castellanos. Like, what kind of year are you expecting from him?
Well, if based on what things are sounding like out of camp, it doesn't sound super promising.
Oh, boy.
I mean, it's easy.
According to him or according to coaches?
According to people
according
that have
to him,
watched.
He's about to go full Tommy Frazier on everybody.
Well, a lot of people think he's currently taking too many sacks. The thing I'd push back on with that is that he's a mobile guy, and his best attributes are not going to be in a non-live situation. So maybe he's getting whistled for sacks when in reality, and they're actually playing tackle football, which is what we play at this level. It's not a sack because he's got some Houdini qualities. So I could see that happening as well. I'll be really curious. He's one of the biggest wild cards, I think, in the ACC this year, and perhaps one of the biggest wild cards in college football at quarterback because his good is really good. His bad is really bad. Yeah. And that's, I think, a kind of a hard thing to measure up when you're relying on so many new pieces. But I like the additions they've made at receiver. Squirrel White's in a boot, by the way. Any concern there?
Last time Squirrel White was a massive problem on the field.
He's a slot receiver. He is who he is. He's not a game changer.
I'll re-reference my question. Last time Squirrel White was a massive problem on the field.
Not often, but a solid piece. Better than what they had last year over Malik Benson.
Okay.
You also look at
his 6 receiving touchdowns in 3 years.
Deuce Robinson.
I'm not scared of him. I'm sorry.
Fair enough.
Great. You run fast. How about catch touchdowns?
Deuce Robinson.
Solid.
Good. Long.
Probably upgrade. I mean, I would say all together they've upgraded.
Correct. I think the offensive line hopefully is upgraded. I think Malzahn will have some good schemes. I think his passing tree and things like that, a little bit vanilla, but the run game will be good, I feel like. So I'll be curious. I think it's going to be very interesting to see how Florida State does, but they are very much dependent on Castellanos having a heck of a year. And, man, that's not a guarantee for me.
No, not at all. All right, so I want to take that and roll it into a couple of these bigger games that are coming up in the SEC this season. How are they going to win? Bama FSU, Auburn Baylor, LSU Clemson, Tennessee Syracuse. How do the SEC teams find ways to win these opening football games? We can even roll that into maybe some week 2, week 3 games based on what we think right now. We'll do all of that next right here on Mac and Cube in the morning.
Go inside Jocks 94.5 on Jocks TV. Morning Jocks, Mac and Cube, 3-man front video simulcasts are presented by Bill Smith Buick GMC and Game Day Men's Health. Watch on the Jocks mobile app and YouTube by searching Jocks 94.5 TV.
McElroy Cubelic in the morning, 922, Birmingham, Alabama. Talking about some transfer quarterbacks here in the last segment. If you missed it, you can always download the podcast wherever you get the podcast. Pretty fun discussion because there are a lot of very interesting situations involving transfer quarterbacks this year, even more so because there's so many that have had great success in college football and are now at new places, a la Carson Beck, which we'll talk about a little bit more here in just a bit. Before we do, I'm going to tell you I'm friends at Shannara Flooring. They are amazing and have built their company on a foundation of trust and integrity. If you go and check out Fu and his guys on their website, fuandyou.com, you'll see a tremendous amount of inventory. 40,000 square feet of Cortec flooring by Shaw in stock. That's dependable, durable flooring that is next level. Next level. It's going to upgrade your home. It's going to upgrade your business. They're going to do a great job in making sure that your home is protected and secure. And you can get $10 off per box if you order that Cortec flooring by Shaw from Shannara Flooring by going to fooandyou.com. It's Shannara Flooring. Go to fooandyou.com. Let's go to Dave in Hoover. Dave, what's going on, my friend?
Hey, guys. So I've got a distant cousin, second cousin, that son is a special teams guy at Georgia. Last year was his last year. He's moved on to bigger and brighter things, I guess. But his dad told us that at the Ole Miss game, Carson Beck was on his phone in the bathroom with his girlfriend about 10 minutes before taking the field, not for warm-ups, before the game. And that Tate Ratledge went in there, took the phone from him, locked the door behind him, and basically jacked him up and told him that he's killing him, that he's not focused. He said, you either need to get rid of us or get rid of your girlfriend. And it was a problem for about 2 or 3 weeks. But I think now that he's at Miami, because I think we all saw what he's capable of in the second half against Alabama. I mean, he's got the ability and the skill set. But and my conspiracy theory was, maybe Cristobal had his girlfriend harass him and get him kicked off the team so he could go to Miami. Obviously, that's not true. But I don't know. I think he's going to do well down there. I think if he's got time, he's got some receivers, like you said, I think he's going to light it up and do good things.
Did Tate Ratledge play against Ole Miss? Oh, yeah, he played despite a foot injury. Yeah, I remember that. He was banged up in that game. That might have been his first game back off the ankle or foot injury that he had. And he eventually gave way to Micah Morris. But Ratledge struggled. I mean, I don't know if that's true or not. I have no idea. All I know is that I think Carson Beck was not the exclusively responsible for the inconsistencies that Georgia dealt with last year. I think the receivers were extremely disappointing.
Yeah.
And the offensive line was extremely disappointing. And they got gashed on the ground a couple times. So I think while everyone wants to blame him for the inconsistencies in performance, I don't think it's entirely fair.
No, enough to go around. Absolutely right. And you look at his numbers, still weren't bad. If you take some of those drop passes, 36 drop passes over the course of the year? That made his numbers look a whole lot better.
Led the nation, if I'm not mistaken, in drop passes.
Yeah, they did.
So,
all right, guys. Hey, real quick. Champ Bailey made the second team defense. How about that?
It's amazing. I mean, it's the AP poll. I think
remember when the
top 25 is better than this list.
Remember when the all teams used to have like utility guy on them, all SEC, all AP, all American, whatever. Like Champ would be my utility guy, like all time, probably him. Probably like Antoine Randall L would maybe be on that list. So yeah, he deserves to be mentioned somehow, some way. Dude was unbelievable.
Yeah, you got it.
Hines Ward
Good
might
show,
get
guys.
it.
Enjoy it.
Thanks. Yeah. Hines Ward freaking played quarterback, like legit played quarterback at Georgia.
Yeah.
Dude's a beast, man.
Beast.
I love Hines.
Such a great player.
All right, so we'll roll that into, Greg. We were talking about Thomas Castellanos, some of these games coming up. Alabama, Florida State. I kind of want to, some of these bigger games, go through quickly, like what we're thinking of. This is what has to happen for this game to go a certain team's way. I know it's a big spread. It's double digits. I know that it doesn't feel like it's going to be a problem for Alabama per se, but they have some question marks, some new things. But what do you look at this game and say, Alabama's got to do this to win this game?
Well, I think what's been interesting, I've read a handful of people's comments and concerns about this game, and several have cited, Gus Malzahn has traditionally given Alabama some fits with his offensive scheme, without acknowledging the fact that Gus Malzahn's offensive scheme at Auburn was going against Nick Saban. Nick Saban,
I don't understand what that has to do with this.
Is no longer there, but I guess because Alabama still wears crimson and white, they're going to really struggle against Gus Malzahn's offensive scheme. That's the type of due diligence people do nowadays. But I think with a slightly more, I guess you could say versatile defense is probably the right word. Alabama's defense with the pattern match scheme that Coach Saban instituted was fantastic, obviously, but very complex and occasionally did lose sight of quarterback run. I think with this scheme, quarterback run is not going to be as much of a problem, assuming you tackle, block, or as soon as you get off blocks and tackle, right? I think this is a tricky game in week one because it's a new offensive coordinator and you're probably going to be chasing some ghosts. But it's not a game right now that Alabama should be overmatched with what Florida State has at wide receiver and what Florida State likely will have along the offensive line. So I think it's a good matchup for the Tide.
Yeah, the offensive line going to be very new. That should be an area that Alabama has some success. Like Luke Pettibon has played Micah Pettis. We've seen him in the SEC, but I don't look at those as massive upgrades as far as where that O-line is going to be, and there's going to be a huge problem. And I think the last couple of times Florida State's brought in some new talent, and it's really changed things. It's been on that defensive line, and I don't know if James Williams or Deontay McCray are those kind of guys. But I'll actually go on the other side of you here. Even though I don't think quarterback run is going to be the primary way that Florida State wants to get yards, I do think that that's the thing Alabama has to be most careful with here, is if there are portions of that implemented and maybe even just leaving the pocket on his own, I think you tackle Thomas Castellanos, you win this game. For me, it's that simple, because I don't think they're going to have enough other things that are going to be good enough to consistently give you problems. Letting him get loose, I think, would be my biggest concern. And that can be multiple ways that happens. But I think that's the only thing that we're sitting here on the Monday, on Labor Day after that game, talking about. That's why that game was a real issue for Alabama.
Yes. If you let him get loose, if you get maybe a little too aggressive with your pass rush, if you get a little bit too carried away with your pursuit angles, then you can run into some problems. I think a lot of people that have watched Thomas Castellanos remember just one game. And that was a game 2 years ago against Florida State where he just tore it up. But there was a lot of bad in there that led to him actually getting benched last year. So I think frustrating him, not getting
the Thursday night game?
No, it was a Friday. It was a Saturday
night
morning
game at home that he kind of went off on.
I don't remember that one. I just remember the Friday. I remember the Friday or maybe Saturday morning game. It was a Saturday morning game. I remember it because we were doing Pitt, West Virginia backyard brawl that game, and we're sitting there at this like sushi place in Morgantown, which is not a place where you'd think you'd want to get lunch in Morgantown.
Not far from the ocean.
And we watched it, and it was actually quite entertaining.
Okay.
But I do think Thomas Castellanos can be a real problem when the play breaks down. So you got to be real disciplined and really good with your eyes.
All right, let's move over to Auburn Baylor. You and I have actually previewed this game a fair amount in the offseason. We've tried to warn people how dangerous this game may be, that you're going to have sort of an offense that brings in some air raid principles, but still wants to run the stretch play, still going to keep the run scheme that's been so successful for them the last couple of years. Sawyer Robertson, just a really solid college quarterback, and back for more with some familiar faces around him. But when you look at just Auburn, what do they have to do to win this game? The way that you see it right now. We'll get more information before. I have a better idea who's going to be on the field once we get to game week. But right now, how does Auburn go to Baylor and steal this game?
I think you have to do a really good job not allowing yards after catch. I look at Spav, the offensive coordinator, Jake Spavital, and how often he gets guys in space. And I think that they're not going to allow this defensive line and Keldrick Falk to get home. Like, he's going to get the ball out. Sawyer Robertson will get the ball out. Obviously, you can say stop the run. Understandable, right? Obviously. Stop the run goes without saying. They had a rusher that went for over 1,000 yards last year in Bryson Washington. So I think that's a big one. But I think getting receivers on the ground in the open field is significant here. A lot of quick passes. Ball will get out. And there's going to be a lot of space that you're going to have to account for. And that is of concern. Offensively, be super disciplined with your eyes and reads post-snap, because Dave Harand is going to have some type of adjustment or scheme that we haven't seen before. And he's going to have a couple of floaters that will drift out and read the quarterback's eyes and get in those passing lanes. That's a concern for Jackson Arnold. So you know he's going to have a good scheme. It's just, can you be disciplined enough not to pull the trigger when you shouldn't?
Based on our conversations, we wouldn't think that would be the problem. But
you don't say.
I think it's running the football. If Auburn runs the football, I think that handles a lot of what you're talking about.
Are they going to let them run the football? Is my question.
Fair question.
Because if you look at what they brought in, let me pull up their depth chart real quick. They brought in like a 360-pound defensive tackle. Like, they brought in a couple of big boys up front to stop the run.
Mm-hmm.
And
not all runs are in the A-gaps. I'm not sure if you're aware of that.
There's a rule this year in college football. It has to be.
Every single one of them?
Yes. If you run it outside the guard, you're soft.
Tennessee might win a national championship then.
All right, I just went to Auburn. Why did I do that? I want to go to Baylor.
But you're right about Aranda. The creepers are going to be there. Guys walking up, dropping. There's going to be different looks mixing up. I think if you can find a way to get the run going a little bit early, and that could be Jackson Arnold on a couple of keeps. I think that could be just your traditional runs. If that gets going, I think that's the easiest way to slow some of that stuff down because he'll get out of it. They'll have to bail on a couple of those concepts if you could find a way to move it on the ground. And then potentially, too, just kind of you control the game a little bit. You control when to take your shots to that talented group of receivers and maybe put a little bit of pressure on a new offense that could get them in an uncomfortable spot. Then Keldrick Falk maybe playing from behind, if Baylor is, that's where you could see him impacting the game a little bit more if they have to go more regular drop back. So I just think I think it's critical. If you gave me one thing in this game, Auburn's got to have success on the ground early. And as we've talked about the offensive line, Greg, that should be one of your strengths. You should be able to lean on that group.
Well,
and they need to prove
not
it.
If you listen to Scrimmage 1. Because you're always a finished product in Scrimmage 1. Always.
That is exactly what your team will be. Every team in college football history has been mirrored by first scrimmage.
Correct.
Regardless of what the script looked like.
I think running the football gets them out of some of those.
Some of the tricky decisions.
Yeah. If you can run the football, you will simplify what they're doing defensively.
Absolutely.
So anytime you have a team, and you know Baylor's going to sell it against the run. Why wouldn't you? Make Auburn's quarterback beat you. So I think that
gives you favorable matchups with some of those receivers.
Agree. And now you got to just win those matchups.
Eric Singleton one-on-one. Well, I think a lot of folks would be good with that. Cam Coleman one-on-one. A lot of folks would be good with that.
The more I think about it, the more I think it's a pretty good matchup for Auburn. I think it's a dangerous spot. I think it's a tricky game. I also think it's a game, too, where
it's kind of like you said. If you play clean, it is a good matchup for Auburn.
Yeah.
But Dave Aranda's going to try to make you play sloppy. And if you do, you play right into their hands, and that's going to be a Baylor win. It is. So I'm so excited for that game. I'm pumped about it. It's going to probably be a problem because everybody's going to first game. Everybody's going to want to go to dinner and the whole deal. And I'm gonna be like, no, dog, we're watching this game. Sorry, I'll be in the room.
Yeah,
but we got to dial in on this one.
Dial it up.
This needs some focal points. We will be in tuned with this one right here. We're not going to be messing around on that one. All right, LSU Clemson. A little bit more tricky task for the LSU Tigers than what maybe we have teed up for Alabama and Auburn in their openers. But if you were to take one thing, you were to say this has to happen for LSU to win this football game, what does it have to be?
They got to be able to hold up along the offensive line.
Oh, it's tough against this group, too.
Really tough. And you cannot let TJ Parker, the All-American defensive end, take the game over.
Yeah.
Like if he does, it's a wrap.
Well, Peter Woods can take it over inside.
Yeah.
More important, in your opinion, keep Clemson off your quarterback or get to Clemson's quarterback?
I think keeping Clemson off your quarterback's number one for them. I think getting home would be great. I think if you can make Clemson a little one-dimensional, they're a little bit concerned about their depth at running back. They're going to have great weapons on the outside. Sounds like LSU really likes their secondary. It sounds like they're real pleased with that. So maybe they can hold up. So, yeah, put some pressure on Cade Klubnik would be nice, but I still think by far they're going to win that game in the trenches with their offensive line if they win it.
Yeah.
If Clemson tees off, it's a wrap.
It'll be trouble. And the thing that similar to what we talked about with that Auburn-Baylor matchup, Klubnik's legs I think become really interesting in this game because we know what Blake Baker's going to give you. Different looks, different pressures. He's going to try to hit you from different angles. You miss fire on a couple of those, Klubnik can burn you.
No question.
I mean, he can turn a too far up the field pass rush or a linebacker in the wrong gap. All of a sudden, two players in the B gap pass rush, 20, 30 yards, no problem. And I mean, LSU's going to be in some man. They're going to have their backs turned to the quarterback at times when he can leave the pocket. That would be of great concern for me also. But I think you're right because ultimately, what's the key to LSU's success this year? It's Garrett Nussmeier. He should have a great group of receivers on the field, regardless of health, at most times.
Yeah.
Enough talent there to get it done. Whether they decide to hand the ball off or not, he's the key to them winning. So you keep him clean, you give yourself a chance in every game you play.
No doubt. I think that's the ticket, though, especially with this knee thing. And I know they're minimizing it. Is mobility a question? Is that something that we're concerned about?
Could be.
I mean, I don't know. I hope not.
Well, it has been anyway when he's had mobility technically. It's still been a concern because he just hadn't utilized it. All right, we'll continue that conversation. One more SEC game and then maybe a couple of other week 2, week 3 games we're already taking a peek at. And don't forget, Super Sofa Game of the Week coming up at the end of this hour as well, next on Jocks.
The capital of the sports talk nation. This is Jocks 94.5 and JocksFM.com. Birmingham.
All right, welcome back in. McElroy Cubelic in the morning. We did not get to Tennessee-Syracuse, Greg. We mentioned that game a little bit earlier, though. When you look at that one, what has to happen for the Vols? Is it just Aguilar taking care of the football?
Yeah.
Because he's got a little bit of that tendency. That turnover genome does, when the DNA test results come back, turnover is going to be found in the Joey Aguilar DNA.
Correct. I think with them, the big thing is running the football.
Well, because their defense can win them that game.
I think they're going to be good on defense. I'm not concerned about that side of the ball. I'm really not. I think they'll be just fine there. I just think they need to run the football, take some of the pressure off Aguilar, allow him to get a couple one-on-ones on the outside. If you can get the run game going like you did last year, then it's going to take a lot of the pressure off your quarterback.
I have a vision of that O-line kind of being sloppy against a group that shows some movement, does some different things, gives you some weird looks, and that part being problematic. I'm not saying that's definitely how it's going to go, but there's a part of me that kind of can envision that. And then all of a sudden it is in Joey's hands, and you got to go make a play late against that team to win that game. I don't love that situation for Tennessee. Just be careful with that one is what I would say. Before we move on to a couple of maybe week 2, week 3 games, Michigan's punishment is in.
Oh, boy.
You ready for this? Per Pete Thamel, Michigan's punishments in the NCAA COI ruling, he and Dan Wetzel reporting on this, Michigan received a significant fine. If I were to tell you Michigan's going to get fined for everything that they did, the school, what would you imagine that would be?
I would say they get fined $500,000.
Yeah. John, somewhere in that territory?
I know the number, and I would have said that, but okay.
Yeah. Expected to be more than $20 million. Now, that'll be from the loss of postseason football revenue for the next 2 years.
20 bones?
Feels significant.
Yeah. Hey, Larry,
you got,
Mr. Ellison.
Yeah, you got Larry Ellison and Barstool guy that can
Where's Oracle stock today?
Also, Sherrone Moore is going to be given an extra game suspension. Should be in 26. School already proposed a self-imposed 2-game ban for this upcoming season, slated for weeks 3 and 4.
Who's
Do you think schools should be able to select their coach's suspension?
It is Nebraska game.
That feels egregious. Just
3 and 4, Central Michigan and Nebraska.
I got to know the thought process behind that too.
Need him for Oklahoma.
Why is it not just out of the gate and then get going? Like, I would want it to be over with. I don't know. I'd probably also just not want my head coach to be suspended.
I would like that.
All right, is that enough? Is that too much? Where are we on the Michigan suspension? Not that you and I really care about this at all. Good. Moving on.
Is that all it is?
That's all Pete Thamel has.
1 game and $20 million.
Mm-hmm.
So you're telling me they're not taking the national championship game away? They're not getting a 5-year postseason ban like I was told yesterday?
The NCAA is going to march into the doors and rip that banner down.
Give me that banner.
We want that gold muffler.
Give me that banner.
Not happening. Not going to happen. So all will continue in Ann Arbor. And if there's any program that's used to having their head coach sit out a game or two, I would feel like it's Michigan the last couple of years. I mean, they probably got that protocol on lockdown. Oh, wait, coach is out again? No problem. Which coach? Because we need to know which house to take him to and set up the communications. Surely not. Surely not.
That'd be amazing. What's the range on those headsets? The sideline headsets.
Yeah, they could get the new deals that we advertise here on Jocks. What are those microphones, John? The walkie-talkies? The Doomsday walkie-talkies?
Select radio, rapid radio?
Yeah, when the zombies come,
Heck
you can have
yeah.
those. You can communicate with people on Mars.
Oh, yeah, we'll be back.
It'll be good.
No doubt.
866. Wait, before we get to that. All right. 800-239-9495 if you want to get in. Mike has college football questions on the Higginbotham hotline. Mike, what's on your mind today?
Hey, good morning, guys. Hard to follow up that breaking news there. I was just wondering if you guys have received y'all's broadcasting schedule and which games you guys have circled on your calendars. Also, to dovetail off some conversations y'all were having last week and earlier this week about programs' realistic expectations and who can and can't win a national title. How much longer do you think fans in, Power 4 conferences are going to be okay with the group of five taking up an increasingly, more valuable playoff spot in the playoffs?
I don't think they like that now. I think they would get away from it immediately if they didn't feel like that there would be legal ramifications at some point in time on the back end of it, going down the path of antitrust and other things of that nature. But the perception of the people that broker the power in college football, I believe, still wants to be that it is for all and wants to help all and wants to do a lot of things that are still for the good of the game. So I don't see that swipe left happening anytime soon. Greg, do you feel differently?
I don't think any commissioner or decision maker is wanting, quote, blood on their hands, right, by excluding half the country. And while I don't in my lifetime anticipate a G5 team winning a national championship, I could see a G5 team winning a game in the playoff.
Oh, of course.
No doubt, right? And that gives them a shot. It gives hope. It gives you opportunity. It gives you some of that, Cinderella feel that we see in the NCAA tournament that makes it so fun. So I don't think there's going to be a scenario in the near term where the G5 is excluded. But if the revenue sharing continues to create a bigger gap, I could see them just breaking away and having their own tournament, which I think would be highly consumable as well.
Yeah, I would agree with most of that. As far as the assignments, are we? I'm not allowed to say this yet, are we?
Huh?
Okay, I'm not doing it.
I mean,
Greg can do it. I'm not doing it. I think we know where we are weeks 1, maybe weeks 1 and 2, but there will be a release, so we don't really want to get out in front of that. Probably not our best idea from us.
You can probably guess.
I'm not in San Antonio week 1, if that's what you're thinking, or Lexington. And I
dang
know
it.
that's what everybody was thinking.
I thought
not
for
in either one of
sure.
those places.
I thought you were going to have Brahma's Mississippi State week 1.
Actually, it would be Brahma's in Lexington.
Brahma's.
I probably need to be. Most people would have anticipated.
You don't do Brahma road games?
No, I mean I have, but no. Maybe Wildcats in San Antonio. A home and home weeks 1 and 2 would probably make most sense. San Antonio, then Lexington. Yeah, but no, not going to be there. All right, we've got to get to our Super Sofa game of the week, and I got to be honest with you guys. I'm extremely excited about where I'm going with this game. Get ready. We'll drop it on you next right here on Mac and Cube in the morning.
Go inside Jocks 94.5 on Jocks TV. Morning Jocks, Mac and Cube, 3-man front video simulcasts are presented by Bill Smith Buick GMC and Game Day Men's Health. Watch on the Jocks mobile app and YouTube by searching Jocks 94.5 TV.
Jump ever. No. It was a terrible song. And
dude, can I just tell you something just for a second? When I've been working out, I have like Spotify makes these like pump up music lists, and for whatever freaking reason,
they're never good. I don't do Spotify. I do my own Apple podcast, and all of the like motivational workout music. It's never stuff that works.
No, it just never works. But I've had Ice Ice Baby on there like the last 2 or 3 workouts. I don't know where it's coming from.
It's terrible.
And all I can think about is Cole. Is that bad?
Ice. Big Vanilla Ice.
I'm like sitting there under the bar. I'm like, yep, this is what Cole was listening to.
No,
I don't know why when I think Ice Ice Baby, I think of you.
Never thought that was a great song. Like, I'm not gonna say I never had it on,
You
but
can
like,
out with Vanilla Ice.
Of all of us here, he's the only one seen him in concert.
Exactly.
twice.
Yeah.
See?
That was grunge Vanilla Ice though.
It's still it's still the noun. It may be an adjective in front of it, but it's still the noun.
I want you to go spend 6 days in Shreveport, Louisiana under the age of 21 and tell me how that goes.
I mean,
It wouldn't
born
be
there,
fun.
but all right.
Preparing to play a football game, by the way.
Kinda. Preparing my defense to play. I wasn't playing in that game. All right, let's get to our Super Sofa games of the week. You pick one. It's the only one you get to watch all weekend, Greg. Which direction are you going?
So many good options. But you know where I'm going? I'm going to IMG Academy. Oh, no, that's next week. Dang it.
Jeez.
I had it all picked out, and I just looked at the date. It's the 22nd. I thought it was tomorrow. Or today. Dang it. All right, well, I got to revisit. Go ahead.
You could go to scrimmage again.
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going this week. All right, y'all go ahead. I'll come back.
Well,
come back to me.
I'm going Tennessee Titans and Atlanta Falcons NFL preseason tonight at 6 p.m. on Fox.
A lot of fights on the field this week.
You know how it is in camp, dog.
It happens.
It does.
Dog days.
You know it.
Cole?
John?
Give me Browns, Eagles. I want to see dysfunction at its best, so give me the Eagles.
You're taking the Eagles.
No, I'm taking the Eagles if I were betting, but I want to see dysfunction, watch the Browns fall apart.
All right, tonight at 9 o'clock Central, get your computers ready. Go to nfhsnetwork.com/schools/Soldotna high-school-soldotna-AK for Palmer at Soldotna. That's right, our Stars kick off the season tonight. You'll hear about him again in Bad Box Score of the Day next week. Palmer at Soldotna, 9 Central from Soldotna, Alaska. Our boys are back. They kick off tonight at 9. Get your streaming service prepared. That is my Super Sofa game of the week.
Love it. Give me the NFL. Cowboys, Ravens. Let's eat.
This is McElroy and Cubelic in the morning.